Hello everybody, Wargame Workshop here with a first review of any Warhammer guys. So today we are going to be reviewing the Space Marine Intercessor Squad. So these guys are the backbone of the Space Marine armies if you play as them. I personally play as the Space Marines, so these are some of my favorite units in the game. They are quite good. They have 10 units that come in the box if you were to buy the box of these guys, one of which is a sergeant, not a lieutenant, and he is very good. He has no real characteristics that make him super good, but he does have a plasma pistol, which is great against enemy heroes. It'll include 7 regular intercessors, each equipped with a trusty bolt rifle and a bolt pistol, as well as a close combat weapon. Then we've got 2 of these bazooka-type soldiers, so these guys are quite good. Their weapons can either be used against tons of infantry or a few elite heavy vehicles or monsters. So these guys are very good, very versatile unit. The lore behind these guys is that they are the backbone of the Space Marine armies, so like the standard infantry unit for the Space Marine forces. They are very good. They have lots of good stats, and in the lore, these guys are excessively overpowered, but on tabletop, they are pretty standard units. They are good compared to other infantry units of other factions, but for Space Marines, they might not be the best. Me personally, I do think these guys are very good. They are very versatile and useful in basically any scenario. You can split them into 2 squads of 5 or combine them all to make 10. One of those squads would have the sergeant and one of the big guns, and the other squad would have one of the big guns and just 4 regular intercessors. So, taking a closer look at the models, they are quite good. They are new Primaris Marines, so these are not the old Firstborn, so they do have newer models and more support from the lore and the codexes, so these guys will not be leaving anytime soon. And so that is good. I'm not the best painter, but I did paint my Astartes in ultramarine colors. You don't have to do this. You can paint them in any of the many chapters, like hundreds of chapters. Oh, actually only 100, but maybe there's 1,000. I don't remember at this point. I have not read the codex for a while, but there are plenty. Basically any color you can think of, you can paint these guys in. And the big chapters I could name off the top of my head are Ultramarines, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, White Scars, and Salamanders, as well as the Iron Fists and Black Templar. So these are some guys. So we got black, white, green, yellow, red, basically anything you want to make them. And of course, I chose the Ultramarines. Second company, because they are about golden shoulder pads, as you can see. That doesn't really matter though. You can just paint yours however you want, and you can probably make up some lore later about why they are how they are. So, in terms of their stats, these guys are quite good. They do have very versatile weapons. So for these heavy guys, they are going to have Astartes grenade launchers. They can either choose to use frag ammunition or crack ammunition. So the frag grenades will be able to shoot up to 3 attacks. You roll a dice to see how many you get to do, and you will hit on a 3+, and the strength is a 4, so this is really only going to be effective against other infantry, and they have an armor penetration of 0 and 1 damage. So it's pretty much a guaranteed hit on infantry, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. So the other option you have to shoot with these guys, and you don't have to pick one or the other, you can fire both at any time in the game, you just can't fire both in one round. So this will be the crack, and the crack will do 1 attack. They will hit on a 3+, and they have a strength of 9, which makes them very effective against any sort of monsters or vehicles you are fighting. These guys should be able to pierce that armor, and they do get an armor penetration of -2, which is quite good for any regular infantry squad. So these guys will probably be your anti-tank unit in this squad, and I normally just go with the crack because it does D3 damage, so you can blow up a few infantry as well with this weapon. The only downside is that 1 attack, so if you fail that attack, that's it. That guy already shot. So each of these Space Marines is equipped with a bolt pistol, including the heavy guys, I believe the sergeant is equipped with a plasma pistol instead of a bolt pistol, so he will not have that. That has the pistol characteristic, a range of 12, 1 attack, 3+ to hit, and a strength of 4, penetration of 0, and damage is 1. So these are not very significant in terms of gameplay, but they do exist, and you can use them, and I tend to use them, and I think they're pretty good. So the main weapon of all these intercessors, of which 7 of them have in the box, is going to be your bolt rifle. So these bolt rifles have the characteristics of assault, which means if you run, you may still fire these weapons, and they do have heavy as well, so if you stay still during your turn, you will be able to get extra damage on your attack. Maybe not damage, but like attacks. So these are quite effective, and they do have 2 attacks each, which means you'll be doing 14 attacks in total with all these guys. And they do have 3+ to hit, which is pretty good, same as all the other ones, and a strength of 4, so that's going to be good against infantry, not very good against vehicles or monsters. And they will have a armor penetration of -1, which is good for infantry. I actually think that is very useful in some cases, and 1 damage. So you could do up to 14 damage with these guys if you all hit, which is unlikely, but possible. So that is quite good. And then the captain can either have the sergeant can either have a plasma pistol or a hand flamer. So the hand flamer is going to have a range of 12, do d6 attacks. It bypasses to see how much you hit, and you have a strength of 3. So not a very high strength, only used against infantry. That I did personally not choose this weapon. That's not very good. Only 1 damage. It can do up to 6 attacks, which is nice, I guess. But the better weapon is a plasma pistol, so you'll get to do 1 attack. You'll get 3+ to hit. It's a range of 12. Strength is 7, which is good. And if you supercharge it, that strength will be 8. And you get an armor penetration of -2. Or if you supercharge it, -3. And then it'll do 1 damage or 2. So I'm not exactly sure which one you want to use. Depends on who you plan to fight with these guys. So these guys are very good. They're a very useful unit. They have an ability, Oath of Moment. That's their faction ability, and they have another ability, Objective Secured. So if you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase, and this unit is within range of that objective marker remains under your control, even if you have no models within range of it, until your opponent controls it at the start of any turn. So these intercessors do have a 6 movement. They have a toughness of 4, which is okay. A save of 3+, which is pretty good. And a leadership characteristic of 6+, and with some stratagems and good leaders, this could be very good. And an objective capture point of 2, which is pretty good for just a regular infantry squad, and especially with that objective secured thing, that is going to be very useful. They can use most stratagems for any of your guys, so very good about that. And they can be led by a butt ton of stuff. Basically, anything that's not in like Terminator armor can lead these guys. I'm not going to list it off because it's quite a long list, but I think you guys get the point. So, very good unit overall. Highly recommend getting this if you are going to be playing Space Marines. It's a very good value, only $50 for this box, which might sound like a lot for new Warhammer players, but that's a pretty good deal because you're getting 10 pretty beefy guys who are going to have a lot of power on the tabletop. So, yes, I think that you should get this if it is a must-have for any Space Marine player. So, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.